Hi, I just want to walk you through the new workflow feature that we have developed. The objective of this workflow is if you have multiple level of permissions before submission, you can track this, and this is ideal for larger organizations where you have multiple level of permissions to be given. So we take the example of a leave application. What I have here is I have three separate browsers open. So each browser is a different user. So, this is the this is the first user. So I'll just make a new leave application on behalf of this user. So go to HR. So make a new leave application. Say leave without pay from 17th Jan to 19th Jan. So I'm just going to apply for a leave application. And what you will see first different is that you will see a button on the top. So this is the current status of this document that it is applied. Now the workflow in the organization is, for example, an employee applies for a leave, then the HR department will approve that application, will verify, and then it will go to the main approver, the manager who will approve the leave. So, say in the leave approver, I have two options. I'm saying Anand is going to approve my leave. So so let's see what I see when I'm Anand. So this is Anand's UI. So when I go to HR and I see that there is a new leave application open from this user, and then Anand can see that the status is applied, but Anand can't do anything to the status because it's not because it's disabled. Now if I'm the HR user, what I'll do, I'll go to the HR module and then I'll go to the leave application, and I'll see that there is a new leave here. Now since I'm the HR user, I'm allowed to approve it. So when I click on this, I have two options, either approve or reject. So I'll approve this leave for now. So once it is approved, and then when I go back as the applier, I refresh this page and it will show me status is that it's been approved by HR, but it's not yet approved. So now when I go back to Anand, who is the manager who has to approve, now that user, for that user, this box becomes activated, and then manager can approve the leave. And then when you approve it, the workflow for leave is that you have to submit the transaction. So Anand just approved the leave and the transaction got submitted. You see there is no submit button. So whenever there is a workflow related to any transaction, the submit and cancel buttons go away, because then the user submits or cancels only via a workflow. So this is the process that we have here, and again when I refresh this, leave gets approved here. All the users and even this user, the HR user are here. So just to see quickly see how we set this up, let me log out and log in again as administrator. So now when I log in as administrator, I can go to setup, and then I see workflow manager here. So in the workflow manager, what I've done is I've created one leave application, and now in this, so this is the setting of the workflow for the leave application. So here you select the transaction on which you want to enable the workflow. The second section is the different states of the workflow. So in a typical workflow, your transaction has to go through a set of states, and you define these states in a table over here. Next to each state, you define the doc status, and you define you can define which role is allowed to edit this this state. What you also see here is that if you want to link the state to another field of the transaction, like for example in leave application, all the balance and other reports are calculated based on the status field. Now, when you approve, then the status also has to become approved. So you can optionally set a field that will also change along with the state. Along with the states, you also have to define the rules. Like, so the first state is the applied state. And when it is applied, then there are two actions possible. Now, if it is approved, it becomes approved by HR. Then you can also define which role is allowed to approve to change to enable this transaction or change the state. And once the state is approved by HR, then the state can be approved or rejected again. I mean, final approval and final rejected, and this is done by the leave approval, which is the manager. So in this way, we added another level in the workflow. By default, there are only two levels, right? From either it's saved or submitted, and when it's submitted, then all the balances and other transactions get affected. So by using this, you can have multiple levels of approvals. This will also be used in conjunction with the existing permission rule. So if you give a state where the user is allowed to submit, but this user does not have submit rules, then it will not allow you to run that state. So you always have to be careful that it has to match with the existing permission rules, and also make sure that if you're tagging fields along with states, then they are the correct ones, because this may also again mess up your data. We have tried to make it as simple as possible, and also allow multiple states for slightly larger organizations. Um, so any queries, you can always email us or post on our forum. Thanks.